Hello and welcome to your mindset coaching session. Today we're looking at meaning and purpose and how to infuse a greater sense of meaning and purpose into our lives. If you think over the last year, a lot of people have faced the sense of purposelessness, of is everything that I'm going through worth it? Are the challenges that I'm facing? How am I going to get through these things? What is the meaning of my life? I've been doing this thing for the last 5 years, 10 years, and the first few years it used to enrich me. It was something that fulfilled me. And now moving forward, that sense of fulfillment, that sense of purpose that you used to find in what you used to do doesn't come anymore. How can we reignite that sense of purpose? How can you get our drive back in a sense so that we can start to move in a new direction, move in a direction of meaning and purpose, in a direction of fulfillment, in a direction where we actually feel emotionally fulfilled inside, where we feel emotionally charged up, that no matter what happens, we can deal with it because we've got this strong anchor that is within us. And that strong anchor is that sense of meaning and purpose. Because if you look over history, so many people from prisoners of war camps to people who've been shipwrecked, people who've been lost in the jungle, and all these various challenges that people have gone through. You look at Nelson Mandela. One of the things that kept these people going through all these challenges, challenging times, was having a very strong sense of meaning and purpose. So, how can we start bringing that into our lives? So, the thing with meaning and purpose is that a lot of people chase happiness. And they think that if I can be happy, then I'll have a sense of fulfillment in my life. But the thing is, research shows that chasing happiness doesn't make us happy. Happiness is a byproduct of having meaning and purpose. It's a natural result of certain attitudes and actions, which means that if we do certain things and we think a certain way, then happiness is a natural byproduct. You don't have to chase it, it'll come on its own. So a strong sense of purpose leads to a long, healthier, and more satisfying life. And research backs this up. People who have a strong sense of, who have a sense of mission in their lives tend to live longer lives. They have strong immune systems and they have more satisfaction. They have more fulfillment in their lives. They are able to look at even the things that go wrong in their lives and assign a positive meaning to those things. And that has a positive feedback cycle to it, doesn't it? So when life feels purposeless, it tends to also seem pointless or meaningless. Conversely, when people have a strong sense of purpose in their lives, when they feel that who they are and what they do is meaningful, they find it easier to feel resilient in the face of all kinds of problems. It's that old Nietzsche quote, if you know the why, if you have a strong enough why inside of you, you can live anyhow, you can face any challenge. So what's the first thing we can do to quickly and easily implement this idea of having more purpose, having a stronger sense of purpose in our lives? Because these coaching sessions are here to not just give you a new idea, a new philosophy, but to actually change your life by you implementing these things. I want to make it very simple. I want to make it very doable. So first thing you can do is know that meaning is a byproduct of living a certain way. So by focusing away from our own personal needs and focusing on adding value or contributing to other people's needs, then the meaning we get is a byproduct of that. By adding value to other people's lives and taking the focus off of ourselves, at least temporarily, but you find that when you tend to focus too much on yourself, that's actually a form of depressive thinking, because depressed people tend to focus a lot on themselves and what they've done wrong and what's going on in their lives. But if you can get out of your own head and look into contributing in other people's lives, no matter what form that takes, it doesn't mean that you have to go and volunteer in a war zone, right? There's many different ways of going about this. So by focusing on adding value to other people's lives, we actually get meaning back. But another way you can actually find meaning is also looking into your own life and thinking back to the times in the past where you felt that sense of fulfillment, that sense of purpose. So think about this. What has mattered to you most in the past? And feel free to pause the video and ponder on this for a minute or two. What has mattered most to you in the past? When have you felt a sense of meaning the most? And whenever you get a sense of those times, you can just close your eyes and go back to those times. What were you? saying? What were you doing in those times? Who was with you in those times? And what were you feeling? Really get a sense of that. What you're doing, you're saying, who was with you, and what you're feeling. And once you get a sense of that, imagine taking those feelings of fulfillment, those feelings of having a strong sense of purpose, imagine taking those into the future, into future challenging times, or just into the future in general, and imagine that that same feeling is there in the future when you do whatever it is that you be doing. That's it. So there, a little visualization is a nice blueprint for your mind in terms of setting the tone of what it feels like to have a strong sense of purpose. And you can feel free to do this as many times as you want. Whenever you're feeling a little off center, a little off balance, just get back to that sense of feeling grounded, feeling sure of yourself, and feeling sure that everything that you're doing has a sense of meaning and purpose. You can just go back to those times and bring those feelings back. Another thing that gives you a very strong sense of meaning and purpose is values. So I've given you a list of values there, things like adventure, art, beauty, happiness, loyalty, privacy, wealth, knowledge. So what is important to you, and this is not a conclusive list of values, it's just to prompt your mind, but what is important to you and what do you care about? If you were to go through this list, and feel free to go onto Google and just type out list of values. There's lists that have hundreds of values, right? But semantics aside, what do you feel is most important to you? What do you care about? Is it a sense of adventure? Is it a sense of learning? Is it a sense of growth? Think of all those things that you consider to be important to yourself. And as you go through that list, just make a list of 3 to 5 values. And this is not the values that you're going to live for the rest of your life. It's just to get the process started. Some of those might change, some of those might remain the same. And if it changes, it's just a sign of growth. That's all it is. But for now, just make a list of 3 to 5 values. You don't want anything less than that, and you don't want anything more than that, because you want your values to work off each other, but you don't want to have a list of 12 or 20 values, because that's going to be way too much for your mind to focus on. It's going to be hard to track your progress day to day, whether or not you're living those values. So keep it simple, keep it powerful, 3 to 5 values. And once you've found those values, for example, let's say that your values are compassion, excellence, honesty, and wealth. I want you to turn your value into a power statement. And it's very simple. All you're going to do is say, I am the kind of person who, and then you add your value as a doing word. So if your value was excellence, you say, I am the kind of person who does excellent work, right? That's simple. If your value is health, I am the kind of person who makes healthy decisions when it comes to their diet and their exercise. And what happens is that whenever you're facing a challenge, whenever you're facing a inflection point in your life, when you have to make a decision, you can use that power statement as a prompt to connect to your value and direct you in terms of making the right decision. Because a lot of decisions are ambiguous. It could be wrong or right. It's quite hard to tell. The only way you can actually make the right decision is if it's based on your values. So whenever you want to go for that second slice of cake and health is your value, you can say, I'm the kind of person who makes healthy decisions when it comes to their diet and the exercise. And that will give you that inner strength to then make the right decision of, do I really want this second slice of cake? Is it going to add value to my life, or is it me now going against my values? And because you've made those you made that decision ahead of time, you're not waiting for the challenge, you're not waiting for the pressure to then decide what your values are. You've made the decision ahead of time. It becomes so much more easier to make those decisions. So values, a very, very powerful way of infusing meaning and purpose into your life. Now, another thing that tends to rob us of any kind of meaning is expectations, or rather having inappropriate expectations. So a lot of people say, I'll get a good job that pays really well. Okay, what then? Will your job give you a sense of meaning and purpose? I'll meet the perfect partner, get married and have kids and have the white picket fence and the dog and 2.5 bathrooms and all these things, right? Okay, fine then. What then? I'll get my business off the ground and make a success of it. What then? We have these expectations of how things are going to fulfill us once we've achieved them, and we achieve them, we feel happy for about 5 minutes, and then it dies down like a fire, right? And then what ends up happening is people end up creating more and more of these goals, chasing happiness and getting even more unfulfilled with each goal that becomes met. It's this law of diminishing returns. Each unfulfilled expectation fails to create the desired sense of meaning, and life becomes an endless cycle of pursuing the next goal, seeking a result that never really quite materializes. So where does meaning come from? Meaning comes from purpose, which comes from challenge and learning. That means that it's not what we get that's going to give us a sense of meaning and purpose. It's not what we get, but who we become in the process of getting those things. And who we become is we become more. We're learning new skills. We're learning how to interact with challenges. We're learning more about ourselves. We're learning the things that interest us and the things that don't interest us. So meaning comes from purpose, and we get that from challenging ourselves and from learning. So if you can find a way of growing as a person and a way of contributing outside of yourself in ways that add value to people around you, the natural byproduct of that is a sense of meaning and purpose and happiness, rather than trying to chase happiness directly, which is there for a very short space of time, but it'll be fleeting in the long term. So look at your expectations and look at the expectations as well, and ask yourself, are you basing your happiness on things that are outside of your control or things that are within your control? Because there's a lot of things that are outside of our control. Yes, you can try and start your business and make a success of it. And the only thing that you can control there is your effort. You can control your attitude, right? Your focus. But beyond that, you can't control it. You can't control whether or not people are going to come and buy from you or not. You can't control whether people are going to love your products or not, or how they view you, or your product, or your pricing, and all those things, right? You can't control those things. All you can control is yourself. But if you're basing your happiness on those things that are outside of your control, you've just set yourself up for constant feelings of feeling off balance, feeling under pressure, because you're controlling things that are not meant to be controlled. All you can control is yourself. So look at your expectations and ask yourself, are my expectations based on things that are within my control or things that are outside of my control? And am I growing and contributing at the same time? So expectations, very important thing as well when it comes to having a sense of meaning and purpose. And finally, a strong vision is practically, in my opinion, a cure-all to practically any challenge and every challenge that you will ever face. Yes, I said it. It is a cure-all. It is a panacea. It is the medicine that treats literally any ailment. So create a compelling vision for yourself, not just a vision, because people can create a vision. Oh, my vision is to pay the bills, right? My vision is to empty the dustbin and work another 20 years in my job. That is a vision, but it's not a compelling vision. It's not a vision that moves you. It's not a vision that excites you. It's not a vision that actually, you think about it. And that doesn't mean that you always get excited on a scale of 1 to 10, but generally, does it excite you? Is it something that moves you? Is it something that fills you up with possibility? So you want to, the thing is, with a vision, you don't have to borrow anyone else's vision or look at what your parents did or what other people are doing around you. It is your, Y-O-U-R, your vision. So you can make it however you want to make it. That's the beauty of it. So make it compelling for yourself. Make it something that will pull you towards it and moves you emotionally. You don't want something that you have to push towards, because push will only get you so far, right? Push is like you have to force yourself to do this, but pull, you feel naturally drawn to do this thing. And that doesn't mean that you're perfect. It doesn't mean that you're a workaholic. It doesn't mean that you're a hustler. It just means that generally the life you feel, your direction of your life is that you're moving in the general direction of that vision. Remember I said, it's not what we accomplish, but who we become in the process. So maybe you will, maybe you won't accomplish your vision. That's fine, but who do you become in the process? And if you can enjoy that purpose, that journey, it's going to give you a sense of meaning and purpose in your life. So Make it compelling for yourself. Make it exciting. Make it grand. Make it as big or as small as you want to be. It doesn't matter. It is all up to you. And another thing in that vision, you want to give yourself reasons, positive and negative, why you want to accomplish it, because that is the emotional fuel that will keep you going. So by positive reasons and negative reasons, I mean, give yourself things that are empowering and disempowering, not just empowering. So how will this vision help you? How will this vision help others? How will this vision add value to your life and to the life of others? How will this vision change the world if you were to accomplish it? And the negative aspect would be, how will it hurt you if you don't accomplish this vision? How will your tribe be at a disadvantage if you don't accomplish this vision? How will your family, your children be affected if this vision was not accomplished? How will you be affected emotionally, as in terms of your capability of what you are capable of doing as a person, as a human being, your potential? Is this something that's gonna help you to become more or less? So make the reasons both positive and negative. So a few guidelines in terms of creating compelling vision. Once again, you're free to do this in whichever way you feel moved to do it. Just use your intuition. There's so many different guides and books that help you in terms of creating a vision and crafting goals. This is just one idea. And what I like about this, it's quite simple, but it's enough of a prompt to get you moving in a new direction. So identify an influential person, and you can identify more than one, but you don't want to make a list of 20 people. That's going to be too overwhelming. So think of one person, feel free to go up to 3, maybe 5, but don't go beyond 5. And ask yourself, what qualities do you most admire in this person? So it might be a person that you know personally. It might be an authority figure, maybe a parent or an uncle or something, or a business person that you might know, or might not even know the person personally. Maybe you've seen them online, you've read their books, you've watched their videos and interviews, and you have a really great sense of what this person is or who they are. And ask yourself, what qualities in terms of the things that I've seen or experienced do I most admire in this person? Is it the humility? Is it their vision? Is it the fact that this person is so grounded? Is it the ability to be so creative in terms of how they go about doing their things? Is it the fact that this person's got a very strong family life, or they're so healthy and they put their health first and they've got this vibrant energy? Or maybe it's just their attitude, like despite all the things that this person's gone through, where they should be angry at life, this person's just got such a positive, vibrant attitude, and it rubs off in every person that they meet. So identify influential person. By influential, I don't necessarily mean it has to be an authority figure. It could just be anyone, even your kids, if you have kids. Identify a person that's influential to you and ask yourself, what qualities do you most admire in this person? Okay, and write those down. The second thing is define who you want to become. Imagine it's 20 years in the future and you've accomplished all that you want to accomplish. What do you want to have, be, and do? Right? So what do you want to have accomplished? Who do you want to be as a person? And what is it that you want to do or be doing once you've accomplished your vision in 20 years, or you can make it 30 years? The timeline is just long enough to make it so that it's not something that has to be accomplished tomorrow, but it's not so indistinct as to not have a specific date either. So 20 years is a good figure. And think of what is it that you want to have accomplished by then. And then determine what is important to you today. This is going back to your values. What's important to you today in terms of who would I have to become today in order to accomplish the vision of tomorrow? And I'm sure you'll see that what you have to do will probably mirror who the influential person you thought of when you started this exercise. You'll see that there'll probably be a little bit of overlap in terms of the characteristics of who you have to become in order to accomplish this goal. And once you've gotten all this, you can just write out a rough draft of your vision and your values. So this is who I want to be in the future. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to have accomplished. And these are the characteristics that I want to embody in order to accomplish this. And finally, these are the values that I live by, and these are my power statements. I am the kind of person who A, B, C. Once you've done that, review it on a regular basis, ideally every day for at least a month, till you get that in your body, in your blood, in your breath. You want to be living and breathing it. And that is the barometer by which you can see how seriously you're actually taking your vision. But even if at first, it doesn't mean that you've just written this thing out and overnight your life changes and you move in a whole new direction. Sometimes that's the case, but sometimes it's a small shift that leads to a larger shift, that leads to a larger shift, and it has this snowballing, cascading effect in other areas of your life. So just keep at it, keep reading it, keep believing it. Remember, speak that and live that which you want to become, even if you don't feel it yet in the moment. Eventually, your thoughts will catch up to your actions. So this is me encouraging you to have a strong sense of meaning and purpose in your life. And it, as I said, is a panacea, it is a cure-all, no matter what it is that you face, no matter what challenge you face, no matter what hard decision you need to make in your life. If you have that blueprint, once again, the blueprint doesn't have to be perfect, okay? You can work on it 2 or 3 times a year, or however often you want to work on it. The whole idea is that you've got something that in this moment, at this point in time, that is moving you forward and that's anchoring you, so that whenever the inevitable storms of life do come, you're able to calmly navigate them because you've got a specific direction that you are moving in. So I wish you all the best. Please put what you've learned into action today, not tomorrow, today. Craft out just even half an hour and get this process started, and notice how you feel before this and after this. You might feel a little bit challenged. That's a good thing. Challenge is, it will help you to draw all your resources that are within you, all the latent resources that are within you, and find the way. Remember what we said at the beginning. If you've got a strong enough why, you can face anyhow. And I encourage you to go all in on this. Wishing you all the best.